Shall we do a quick wrap up?
I think so. Mine's going to be super quick.
You started the last two, so you want me to do mine? Or I guess if yours is super quick, why don't you go ahead?
Well, what was the date of the last? The 18th. Okay. Yeah. So I'm just watched a few more dramas. I'm continuing to compare Japan and China and mainland China, and
South
I guess
Korean.
South Korean. Is there a non-mainland China anymore? We used to distinguish that from Hong Kong. Anyway, and it's just fun. It's just fun. I was joking about how, there's a certain kind of male lead you see repeatedly in these things who's not very nice, but I kind of enjoy watching it anyway. I get defensive because I watch these things and I'm like, enjoy it. But of course I wouldn't want to be in a relationship like that. But then I watch like Night of the Living Dead or, A Day of the Dead, or no, Dawn of the Dead. I really like Dawn of the Dead, but I don't feel obligated to say, but of course I wouldn't want to be trapped in a mall with zombies outside. Like,
yeah, it's a weird double standard we have on like women. We worry about women watching like romances and getting the wrong idea or some bullshit.
Yeah, I mean, oh God, my cat is trying to break out of the house. So obviously I don't want all the male leads of these things to be horrible people that you wouldn't want to meet in real life, but I enjoy it sometimes. And so I was talking to our niece about it, and she had a whole reincarnation theory for she's like, I think it's just the same guy over and
over. She's really proving to be a member of the family,
Yeah, I was very proud of her for that. So I think I was talking about this last time because these are long, so I'm watching a lot of these when we talk. But like I enjoyed esports and video games pop up in these shows in a way that I don't feel like you see in a lot of Western stuff, which is, I feel like when you see video games, it's like Seth Rogen, or it's, Tully, where it's, the husband that's not paying any attention to his wife. Like, I don't know how something like The Big Bang Theory depicted video games because I didn't watch it, or something like even Silicon Valley or something that has more.
Yeah.
I don't know if they were in it or not, but it just, that's some of the short-sightedness to me of Western media sometimes, is like just ignoring the existence of stuff like that.
Weirdly, it's a little old, but Stargate Universe, one of the main characters on that is like, the whole point of it is like he's playing a game and that's how he gets involved in things. And like, I like that character because he's like, I'm the numbers guy. Like, he feels more modern in some ways than
it feels like the 80s dealt with video games, because you had like Tron and stuff like that a little more than we do now.
Well, part of the problem is that these video game movies keep coming out and not really making a ton of money. Like, they make some money, but not a lot.
I mean,
and
I guess
because these movies are bad, usually. At least that's part of it.
Wreck-It Ralph. Those are supposed to be good. The first one was cute.
I like the first one. The second one's not as cute, but still enjoyable.
And I like that, like, Korea has Nuna romances, which is older women. So I watched another one of those, and they're just fun. They're just fun. And it's a very different experience watching one of those than watching, movies.
Scaling the screen.
There is stuff happening over there. I think she's gonna break through the screen soon if I don't go do something. So anyway, that's all I have to report. I'm gonna let you talk for a moment while I figure out what to do about this cat.
Excellent. Yeah. So I watched The Vampire Lovers. I'll go back to that when Sarah gets back. So I watched The Dark Crystal Age of Resistance. It sounds like there is only going to be one season of it because it didn't do very well. So all we're getting is the one season. And it's ultimately kind of a letdown, which is a bummer because I like the Dark Crystal movie. It's not like the most amazing thing, but it's a really fun movie I like the puppetry. Jim Henson's puppetry stuff is great. I mean, not him, but the company. And like the TV series is just like, it has the simplicity of kind of that movie, but it's 10 episodes or something. So like, it's beautiful and the sets are amazing, and I just love all of the designs. And some of the voice acting is really clever and neat, and I like bits of the story. And at the end of the day, I'm just like, kind of losing track of who I'm watching because I'm not that interested in what's happening, because it's just so generic in a way. Like, for being so unique in how it's made and how it looks, it just is so generic in its story. And like, it works in an hour and a
That's too
half.
bad.
Yeah, it works in an hour and a half format to me. And like maybe this is why I don't watch as much TV, and like why the Marvel shows have no interest for me is because like except for maybe the Vision Wanda one because that looks weird. But like they it's just the stories are usually too simple. Like I like that when it's like a smaller chunk of time. When you get to 10 episodes, I just lose interest. Like I like sci-fi because sci-fi usually like sci-fi the story might be any kind of story, but there's like usually all these weird things that don't exist that interact with it. Whereas in Age of Resistance, and I usually like fantasy, and there's all these neat bits like that, it just ends up feeling too predictable, and like there's too many pauses, and like I don't know, it just doesn't quite add up to me. Like it's not bad, and I could see someone really loving it, but it's just not there for me. It just ends up falling short of something that I'm gonna like want to rewatch. Like I'll watch a making of before I rewatch it.
I've come across that with some of the drama stuff. I vet them before I watch them too, because I'm not going to watch 16 hours of something without knowing that it's going. But a lot of them kind of, even the ones I really like, often the ending is like not the strongest part of it.
Yeah. I also watched The Vampire Lovers, which is 1970s, like 1970 specifically gothic horror. It features Peter Cushing in it, which is fun because he's only known as that guy from Star Wars. But of course, he was an actor who probably had a really long career, including The Vampire Lovers. And it's weird because it's like almost like, you know, I'd be curious. I think it shows up in queer discussions of queer cinema history because like it's almost like Be Afraid of Lesbianism, except it's not that specific and it's not that thought out. It's just like a period drama, horror, gothic drama thing with a vampire who goes after young women. But it was neat. I put it on the list for you. I want you to watch it because I'm just curious what you'll think of it. I don't know that you'll like it, but it is also gothic and you sometimes go for that.
Yeah.
Probably a bit too much costume drama for you, but anyways, we watched The Young Master, which we both watched. It's an early Jackie Chan.
You were laughing at stuff in that I'm like, any other movie and you'd be rolling your eyes and bored. You have such a soft spot for Jackie Chan.
I think it might be nostalgia that got me through some of that.
I'm like, you would think this is so stupid if it were in a Marvel movie.
Well, no. The thing is, I do think it's so stupid, but I think what happens is I just have a nostalgia bit piece for Jackie Chan. Like you were talking about this, like because of YouTube, like
right.
There are moments where while I'm watching a musical, like, you know, one of the ones with Ruby Keeler and Dick Powell, and it's
Busby Berkeley.
Berkeley. And like, it's like, what was one of them? Like
Dames.
Like some of these, like I'd rewatch Dames because the story was okay. Like I'd rewatch Gold Rush of 1933.
Oh, you're thinking some of the, like, that one that had it was a Gene Kelly film. There was that
CoverGirl, I think.
Yeah.
Like CoverGirl, like, I don't know that I could watch that. I think it's CoverGirl, but I don't know that I could watch that movie again because like I just don't care about the story, and it's just mildly upsetting because it's like it's
really not great how
like I'm glad that I watched it to know it and to like understand like culture in a way, but then I'm just gonna watch that Gene Kelly dance on YouTube. Like that's how I feel about
the one where he dances with himself, right?
Right, which is it's a bummer that in a Rita Hayworth movie, it's Gene Kelly's bit is the most interesting. Anyways,
yeah.
So like it's that thing where like watching The Young Master, it's like I could probably skip watching that again, but there are some fight sequences in that I would totally watch on YouTube. Like just great like bits. Like I kind of am into Jackie Chan because of like how he fits into the culture. So that's what like just like you are interested in musicals for the same reason. Like I kind of like I've sort of understand now like I enjoy watching those musicals. I don't want to watch them again. I might watch The Young Master again if it like comes up someday just out of amusement. But like I can also see why like there are large chunks of that where like there's just nothing. There's just anything there.
Yeah, there's no character. I mean, the opening sequence with the dragon and the lion is really neat. Yeah, the fight scene where he uses
like you would go on YouTube if you had a random Jackie Chan mood.
Yeah, but you're still not really explaining. You laughed at stuff that wasn't funny.
Well, okay, funny is subjective.
To you normally, you were laughing at because
correct.
I don't really I show you something comedic and you're like, I don't really like comedy, Sarah. And then we're watching this and you're laughing and I am like, how many more minutes?
I hate the way you mock me with that voice. It's just so it's probably completely what happens. It is probably who I am, and you're right. It is stuff that I totally wouldn't find funny. And some of it is like directly from like, it is just the kind of humor you see in all these movies. And I wouldn't find it funny, but Jackie Chan, man, I don't know.
Okay, I'm satisfied.
Anyways, I also watched a few more Quay Brothers shorts. If you like Quay Brothers, you should watch them. If you don't, you shouldn't. They're weird. I enjoy them. I don't know what they mean.
Yeah.
Anyway, so going forward, what are we watching? We still have to figure out what we're watching for.
Yeah, there is another Return of the Living Dead film. We could watch that too. We'll figure that out off air.
Yeah.
I'm gonna keep watching dramas. You need to pick a movie for me to watch. We're gonna watch an
do.
Ernst Lubitsch film tomorrow.
Yeah, there's one that's on the top banner, I think, right, of the Criterion Channel.
Yeah.
I'm still gonna. I don't know what I'm gonna do. I'm still watching. I don't know what I want to watch. I want to watch some more Jackie Chan. I want to watch some more of those 70s horror movies. There's a few things leaving. Like I want to watch Brazil before it leaves. I talked about that last time. I still need to watch it. I've got like a couple of buckets right now. There's the Jackie Chan bucket, there's the 70s horror bucket, and then there's the Leaving Criterion bucket, plus a couple of things. Yeah. Plus a couple
K-drama, C-drama, J-drama bucket. It's a big bucket.
It's a big bucket. Plus, I didn't even say, I've been watching and will continue to watch. I'm rewatching Stargate SG-1, which is one of my favorite shows. I grew up with it. I was thinking about it the other day. I was watching something, I think it was the Haitian zombie thing that was talking about colonialism. And I was thinking about Stargate SG-1 and I'm like, there's probably some problematic things in here about colonialism. And I just don't have the effort right now to really figure it out, but I'm sure it's there. I have to imagine it's not like everything is problematic about SG-1, but there's totally stuff in there that's problematic.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And like Stargate Atlantis, like I'm also watching for the first time. It's the only Stargate stuff I haven't watched except for that show on Origins or whatever. And like Atlantis is not as good as SG-1 or
I love Atlantis. I mean, I've seen versions of this. There's two things I love from Atlantis. I've seen versions of this done on other shows, but when they realize that what they've been using as a closet is actually an elevator, like I always love that kind of like, we've been using this thing as a banal storage space, but it turns out that it's X. Like I love that.
Yeah.
And I also love the episode where everybody's affected by this smoke that's making them like imagine that they're having this great time, except for Shepard, who for some reason isn't affected by it. And he's just kind of like going along with it for a little while until he's like talking to all his friends and he's like, yeah, and you died in Kabul.
Yeah, it's like, that's a very weird episode.
But just a thing where like but it's true, the way our physiology works, like we're not all affected by things the same way. And usually even on Star Trek, it's like whatever takes down one person takes everyone down.
Except for Data.
But, the truth is like, it might not work that way because, what works for me doesn't always work for everyone. So,
yeah, it's the later seasons. I think I'm on season 3 or the beginning of 4, the end of 3 for Atlantis. And like, there's some fun, like we just changed over a season and I can't remember where I am. And like some of the writing just got better, but some of the writing is just not good. And it's just
some of the acting is pretty rough too. I'm not going to name names, but
no, well, and I like David Hewlett's acting. I don't know if he's who you were thinking of, but like David Hewlett is just given nothing but science babble to say. And occasionally he gets to be funny. And I really like his character. It's kind of the McKay show, if you ask me.
Yeah.
But like, some of the stuff he has to say is just is too much.
Momoa's in that, right?
It's one of his first things that he did. And it's funny because he got really popular a couple of years ago because of Game of Thrones, and then he was Aquaman and all this stuff. And I'm sure he had other things before that, but like Atlantis is where I learned about him from. And I'm like, hey, it's that guy from Atlantis.
Yeah.
Anyways. All right. So long, everybody. Thanks for joining us. Have a good day.